meeting. Call to election of, we're doing the election of officers. So, this is the time now. I've been doing the chairman for a year, and so we want to get a new chairman. I'll entertain any nominations that any of you might have.
I'd like to make a nomination for Gabriel Torres.
Okay, so is it a motion or a consensus?
I believe it's a motion. Is that?
It's a motion, so we have a motion and a second to appoint Gabriel Torres, Commissioner Torres, for a chairman of the next coming year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. I'm going this way now. I never sat on this side.
We need a motion for vice chair.
Oh, vice chair. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
It's
he's
okay.
going to do that, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I could have done that.
All right, so we will entertain a motion for a vice chair for the City of Hollister Planning Commission.
I'll make a motion to nominate Seth Munzer for vice chairman.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that okay, Seth? I guess I could have asked you. You would have objected if you didn't want it. Awesome.
All righty, so we will go on to the next item, the verification of agenda posting.
Yes, the agenda for the October 26th Plan Commission meeting was posted on Friday, October 20th at 4:30 p.m.
All right, thank you, Brian. And we'll go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Valdivia, if you would lead us in that Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, you didn't hear.
It's all right. Thank you. All righty, we'll go into a roll call. Brian?
Here.
Commissioner Torres.
Here.
Commissioner Lenore.
Present.
Commissioner Valdiva. Here. Commissioner Munzer.
All right. Approval of the minutes for September 28, 2017. You should have received a packet in the mail if you had any questions or comments in regards to those minutes. And I'll entertain a motion if there are no questions.
I just had a clarification on this mini skate park. We did put it off till date certain in November, huh?
November.
I thought it was October, but then I must have been November.
Correct.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. Now is the point where we have any communications with the public on items, from the public on items not listed on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards?
We do not.
All right, so we will move on to the next item. Public hearings. Conditional use permit 2017-17, Printex Concrete Products. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow for the use of concrete to manufacture precast concrete products such as sound abatement walls, transit shelters, utility boxes, entry signs, monuments, and other specialty concrete products in an existing 10,360 square foot industrial building on a 3.472 acre site located at 1601 Lana Way in the M1 Light Industrial Zoning District. Further identified as San Benito County Assessor's Parcel 051-162-005, and the CEQA is categorically exempt. Abraham, your staff report, please.
Yes, you may. As you mentioned, the applicant is requesting approval for a conditional use permit to allow for the use of concrete to manufacture precast concrete products such as sound walls, transit shelters, utility boxes, entry signs, monuments, and other specialty concrete products in an existing 10,360 square foot industrial building on a 3.472 acre site. The property is located at 1601 Lana Way in the M1 Light Industrial Zoning District. The project is proposing hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 days a week with a total of 20 employees. The floor plan includes areas designated for production, a manufacturing of concrete product. Printex will not produce concrete, but assemble concrete-based products in forms on site with truck delivery concrete. All manufacturing and assembly will be located inside the existing building. Per table 1718-1 of street parking and bicycle spaces required by land use, manufacturing and industrial general requirements 2 spaces for each 3 employees or 400 square feet for every or each 400 square feet of gross floor area plus 1 space for each company vehicle. The applicant is proposing a total of 37 parking spaces, including 1 ADA. The use meets and exceeds parking requirements. Due to the proximity of the airport, the Hollister Municipal Airport Comprehensive Land Use Plan, the project site is within the Airport Safety Zone 3, so they're required to go through the process for approval within the Airport Land Use Commission. The staff recommends that the Planning Commission review the applicant's request, receive all written and oral testimonies regarding the proposal, and consider approving conditional use permit number 2017-17, subject to the findings and conditions contained in the draft resolution. Are there any questions for staff?
Okay, we'll bring it back to the commission. Any questions, comments for staff on that item?
So it's the use that is under discretion here. That's the reason for the conditional use permit?
Correct.
And what, I guess that they're just going to take ready mixed concrete and truck it in and put it in forms, is that correct?
Yes, and the applicant is here to answer some of those questions, but yes, so they're not going to be manufacturing the concrete on site. They're just going to have trucks coming in to deliver the
With
concrete.
the ready mix?
Correct.
In the plastic state, okay. Just want to make it clear. Thank you.
Commissioner?
May I ask a
Sure,
question?
Commissioner Ledwell.
The trucks are just not a high density of trucks coming in, just normal.
I'm assuming it will be just normal. I know that we didn't discuss that with the applicant, but like I said, they're here to answer some of those questions as well.
Okay, well, he kind of indicated that it's normal to me.
Now, I do have a question. So on the approval, do we have an item addressing the waste generation from the concrete products that are being generated and how that's going to be diverted from
So
site?
with the truck delivering the concrete, they have to have a washout station because they're not allowed to deliver the concrete and then drive away and, drop all the concrete. So they have to have a washout area for that.
But within our conditions of approval, we have
Correct.
a item identifying how that waste, even not only from the washout, but also from the products that are being formed. I'm assuming that there's waste that's generated from those, let's say, a Christie box or whatever else they may be generating or creating.
That's something that they also, one of the conditions is that they have to check with the Monterey Bay Air Pollution Control District because that's one of the concerns that it could be causing air pollution. So that's something that we discussed with a meeting that we had with the applicant.
Okay. And I'm assuming the applicant is okay with conditions that have been presented by staff. Okay. All right. No, those are my questions.
Okay.
So if no other commissioner questions, we'll open it up.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead,
I
Commissioner.
was going to ask you, how many employees is it going to house? Or
According to the applicant, roughly 20.
how many?
20?
20. Oh, I must have missed it. Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions for staff? Okay. We'll go ahead and open it up for public comment at 6:10. Do we have any speaker cards on this item?
We do not.
Okay. Does the applicant wish to speak in regards to this item either? Or? Okay. All right. And no speaker cards. We'll go ahead and close public comment period on this at 6:11 and bring it back to the commission for a decision.
What's the PC resolution number on this?
It will be 2017-27.
I'll make the motion to, unless there's any discussion
No further discussion? Okay.
with the commissioners. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve PC Resolution 2017-27, adopt conditional use permit number 2017-17 with the draft findings and the conditions in the draft resolution.
And I'll second that motion. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And motion carries. All right. Congratulations.
Thank you for bringing your business to Hollister. Thank you. Very much appreciated.
All right. We'll move on to new business. Do we have any new business items?
No new business, Chairman Torres.
All righty. We'll then go to old business, selection of planning commissioners to serve in the General Plan Update Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Torres. Yes, as you know, the City of Hollister has been working on getting together a request for proposal for the update of our city's general plan. Our city's current general plan is in place from 2005 all the way to 2023. However, we do not want to wait until 2023 for the update of our next general plan. We do want to start ASAP. As a matter of fact, we have sent out a request for proposal for land use consultants to review the proposal. And if you mind, David, we do have the request for proposal. Thank you so much. That we would like to provide to you. Basically identifying all the things that the city is looking into for this update. And so as part of the update process of the general plan, what staff would like to do is work with the City Council and Planning Commission in forming a committee, a steering committee for the general plan update. And so part of this would be to have, at this point, what's being requested is the committee to be formed by 2 City Council members, 2 planning commissioners, and 1 member of the public at large. So what we would hope to discuss with you this evening is a recommendation from you as a commission of potentially 2 commissioners who would be able to be a part of this planning commission or this special steering committee. Some of the things that will be asked of the steering committee would be for the members of the committee to be able to be willing to participate in special meetings that we'll have to discuss some of the items that are going to be updated in the general plan, and so and also make recommendations to the planning commission and to the city council on some of these updates, potentially as well even be a part of some of these meetings with the planning commission. Well, you're here, and the city council as well. So with that in mind, I would like to suggest that you dialogue and see if you have 2 members of your commission to be a part of this steering committee. From that, we will take these 2 names and take them to the city council, and the city council is who would eventually make their decision. I believe it's the mayor who would eventually be required to make the decision with the recommendation that we take. So.
Okay. And Abraham, for clarification purposes, what would be the meeting frequency? Are we talking monthly meetings? Are we talking 2 times a month? What do you anticipate? Yes,
at least we're thinking monthly, but that is something that we would like to establish with the actual committee. So pending, one of the first things that we would have with the committee would be selection of the consultants. So we will provide you with all of the proposals that we receive for review. Staff will be reviewing those as well, and we can give you our input of what the qualifications that staff thought were strong on all these different consultants, and then eventually have the committee selected, and then from there have the committee select the schedule of meetings and agenda topics of what to discuss as we progress. So yeah, at this time, to answer your question, Chairman Torres, we are. The existing general plan that we have, we feel is very progressive. It's very detailed. So the hope, and as you can see in the proposal, is that the update is just that, mainly an update, and it's that would not require a lot of very extreme change to the existing general plan because of how it was done. So the hope is try to meet at least once a month, but if need be more, then that would be up to the committee.
Okay. Thank you, Abraham.
You're welcome.
I would have a question.
Go
Do you anticipate it being a longer obligation than 1 year?
That's a good question, Commissioner Lenore. I know that some of these general plan updates can go longer than a couple of years. Yes, 4 years, 5 years. We, my colleague Maria and I attended a general plan update seminar, and I mean, some of these can go 8 years, 10 years, easy. The county just adopted one last year, I believe it was, and they went for quite some time. Because of the progressive nature of our existing general plan, that being one factor. Another factor, as you know, the city was in a moratorium for a big portion of the at beginning of our general plan implementation, and it was implemented in 2005, and we were in a moratorium all the way to December of 2008. As you know, shortly after that, the city and the state went through a great recession. So there, up until kind of 2010, 2011, we started seeing the actual implementation of the general plan. So because of that, and because of the progressive nature of the general plan, we don't anticipate it to go longer. Our aggressive goal is 2 years. That's our goal. Hopefully less, but we can work with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Abraham, I had another question. Are we working with anybody in particular at the state of California for feedback in regards to this committee's comments or suggestion changes to the general plan? Do we have somebody up in Sacramento that's assigned to us, or
at this time it's the it is the office of the state clearinghouse that makes these requirements of the update of the general plan.
Mm-hmm.
One of the elements is the housing element, and the housing element, as you know, this commission was a big part of its adoption last year by the state HCD. So HCD is in the forefront regarding the element of the housing.
Mm-hmm.
But for all the other elements that are required, state clearinghouse, and that is one aspect that we will be. We don't have a person identified at this time,
okay,
but that's one aspect that we will be working on when we form the committee and get going on
okay.
this.
And the only reason I ask that question is because, as you know, Chispa works very closely with the HCD, and there's been a number of changes, personnel up in Sacramento. So knowing that we have somebody knowledgeable about our area, fast-tracking certain documents that we send up to Sacramento, get them back in a timely manner so that as a committee we're not held up by anything in Sacramento.
That's a great point, Chairman Torres. Absolutely. That's great.
Okay.
One more question.
Yes.
If anybody else doesn't have a first question, I heard that's part of Robert's rules, that you get one question and then everybody else speaks. And then you can ask the second one.
Very well.
My question is, do we know which council members are going to serve on that committee?
At this point, we do not know, Commissioner Lenore. Unless I'm wrong, I'm not sure.
They don't know
Brian,
yet. They
have
haven't
you?
appointed anybody yet. Okay.
Yeah, not to my knowledge. Yeah.
Okay, any additional comments from fellow commissioners on this item? And we want to discuss any volunteers for this committee.
I'll volunteer.
And I'll also volunteer.
Very well.
I'm going to explain why I'm not volunteering. Because I have another year on here only, and it's not right to start a process and involve yourself in it and then be done before it's over. If you would have said a year, I would have been very interested, but it could be 2 or 3, and I don't have that much time. And I talked to staff already. I know they might be a little disappointed, but I just don't think I can do it that long. It's 6 years next year on here, and I feel like that's a good spot for me. So I think you'll do a great job, and I'll be looking forward for those updates, reports, very much so. So good luck for you guys.
Thank you.
It's quite a commitment, because I remember I was on the steering committee back before 2005, before our housing, our general plan was adopted by the city council. And that's one of the reasons I got on the planning commission, because it was such a positive experience for me personally to be involved in that process. But there were several meetings and workshops with the community, and although I thought it went fairly well, all in all, partially because we chose a good consultant.
That's great.
I actually was part of that the last two general plans for the city. I worked there. You'll see that my name is even on that document.
Yes.
So it's not like I didn't put my fair share in already.
Right. And I'm proud of the work that we did on the 2005 general plan, but I
Absolutely.
think there can be some tweaks and make
Yes.
it even better for the community.
That's great. That's a great input, Commissioner Huboy. And yeah, we agree, and that's one of the things that we would like to, work with the committee with, and Planning Commission, and eventually City Council to get that adopted and get that going, with a lot of input from the public, of course.
So do you need a motion on this item? or
Yes,
just,
Chairman Torres, what we would like is a consensus from all the planning commissioners of the two selected commissioners to be recommended to City Council for the steering committee. Just in the form of a consensus of all the commissioners.
So-
I agree that Gabriel Torres and David Dubois should represent us on the general plan update.
A second,
That's just a consensus.
second,
Okay,
second.
consensus.
Is
everybody
that
else.
good with you?
So those are the two are going to be in the,
Mhm.
yeah.
Is that good?
Is that- okay.
I'm still going to have comment.
Yeah, I would. Anytime,
That's right.
anytime, Commissioner
All right.
Lenore. That very well. That's great. I know you will, and we're always open for that.
All right.
So for the record, the chairperson, Gabriel Torres, and Commissioner Huboy are the individuals that have been selected by the Planning Commission to fill those two ad hoc positions. And that's it.
All right, thank you. All righty. And next item, Planning Department reports. Do we have any reports?
City Manager Avro had a couple comments for the commission.
No, there's another one too.
Good evening, everybody. I apologize for not being at your last Planning Commission meeting. If I was present, I may have been able to clear up some confusion on Dunn Park. It's not on the agenda, so I'm not going to get really involved in talking about it. But I know that you expect to see something on November 16th, or I think that's the date. And I just want to forewarn you that that actually may not happen. But where we were, or where we are to this point, is that the skateboard park went to the youth committee and went to the Parks and Recreation committee. It was adopted by the city council as part of their CIP program. It's C-1603, and I know that maybe some of that information wasn't necessarily conveyed to you folks directly. So I just wanted to make sure that we had been going down a particular path. If the council's direction now, or if they're changing their purpose, that's absolutely okay. But I just want to make sure that you folks know that we won't bring something back to you without actually making sure that this is the direction that the entire council wants to be heading, so that you're not making decisions that ultimately won't come to fruition. So with that said, if you have any questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer them. It's not really the most appropriate time. I will also say this, is that I'm going to be back in here doing another open house on Saturday, November 18th. From 9 to 12. For anybody that's in the audience, I let the council know at their last meeting. So usually when I do these, it's any and all questions. Please come. It's your time to spend with me and ask anything you want, or the community. So that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Billy. Appreciate it. Okay. Abraham, you had a second item?
Yeah, we do have another item for Planning Department reports. I want to indicate that at the last Planning Commission, if you recall, we discussed the possibility of doing some zoning amendments for the Public Facilities District. So staff's going to be working on that. Essentially, it would be to bring before you a report indicating how the Public Facilities District will be amended per recommendation of staff to allow for certain commercial uses. As you recall, we do have somebody who's interested in possibly providing an educational component classes on like wine making, and so we'll get together in staff, try to get a good report and bring it to you for recommendation to the Planning Commission. Our hope is by the November 16 Planning Commission meeting. And also would like to let you know that staff is also working on, and this came from one of the council members as a recommendation, to work on a possible amendment to our public hearing, our public notices section of the code, to start looking into the possibility of when we receive applications for actual development or for and that's one thing that we'll discuss what would consider this action, if approved by the Planning Commission and City Council, to actually require the applicants to build or place a sign, a large enough sign on their property, basically indicating what's coming on their site, what they have applied for, something that's large enough for members of the public to read without being just large enough so it can be read, but not necessarily distracting to motorists or so forth. So we'll be working on something like that and bringing it to you, if not by November, more than likely by December, for your review and comment. So just giving you guys a little bit of info on that.
Okay. Thank you, Abraham.
You're welcome.
Any additional? None? All right,
That's
so we'll go then. Next item, Planning Commission reports.
I have one.
All right. Commissioner Lenore?
Mr. John Hopper from San Juan Bautista Planning Commission, I think he's still the chairman, sent me an email asking if we were interested in, once again, meeting with the 3 planning commissions, County of San Benito, City of Hollister, San Juan Bautista. He did mention that even though they're going through a bit of struggles right now, and they don't have a city manager currently, maybe they have an interim, and I think they have a brand new gentleman also that took over for, what's his name?
Roger? Or
No, the Community Development Services Director. He's
Matthew?
Also gone. Yeah,
Matthew.
Orbach is gone. So they have a change of some staff there. So I said I would present it. What's your feelings? Do you want to meet? And then I said I'll let him know who's chairman.
Yeah.
I'll direct him your way. And what do you guys want to do?
I'd be open to that.
And I said
I'm
I
open
would
to
be
it,
to
yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a joint meeting this last year that's building.
I think now that we have 2 new commissioners, I think it'd be beneficial to have one of those meetings, get them familiar, new faces, and introductions going. So I'd be open.
So you have his contact number, right? Then you'll just
Yeah, I can reach out to him.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll
And
just.
I'd be happy to attend.
Okay. I may have some old information, but I may need to get an update from you, Abraham, so I can make sure I get the correct email address.
Send it
Absolutely.
to you.
If you can send it
I'll
to me.
send it
Yeah.
to you.
Okay. Okay, no, that'd be great. And then I had one question. I wasn't sure if city staff and county staff were still doing the joint committee meetings. Is that still happening, Billy? Are you guys still meeting with any of the county staff and doing any of those meetings? I know that just to make sure that not only the city and the county are on the same page as far as where. Obviously, there's a lot of things, a lot of growth going on in the city. I know you've been doing a number of reports to councils and stuff, but I wasn't sure if there's those joint meetings anymore with county.
Actually, probably not as often as we would like, but we do have intergovernmental that meets monthly. All the staffs are generally at that particular meeting. As you know, not only did San Juan Bautista go through a recent major change with their staffing levels, but so has the county. So they have a new RMA director and some other folks over there that I've just recently met myself. I was expecting them to sort of get sort of acclimated over there, and then we can pick up where we've left off with having general discussions about just projects and where things stand. Okay. We've offered probably much to her dismay, Mary Paxton for a lot of the historical or institutional knowledge that may or may not be at the county anymore. So hopefully they take advantage of that when they need to. Okay. And so, but we have reached out. So
okay, good. No, I was just making sure. And again, just for full disclosure, with the CHISPA being an employee of CHISPA Affordable Housing, we have reached out to John Guertin at the county, new RMA director, just to make sure that he understands who we are, what we do in both not only the city but also in the county as well. And so we just wanted to verify that. Okay. Any additional commissioner reports?
Yes.
No. If none, we'll move to the next item for adjournment. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Our next meeting is Thursday, November 16th at 6 p.m. Thank you all for coming to this evening's meeting.